And with that, welcome into Charlotte Motor Speedway, site of week one of the Downshift Esports Street Stock League. It is Chris Curtis along with Drew Akers, and we got 100 laps on Charlotte Motor Speedway for you. It is the new oval, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Drew, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Chris. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Mile and a half of racing going on, some drafting, some very tight corners at some points, and the back straightaway where a lot of the top speeds are going to be met on this particular day. It looks like it's going to be a fun race. Hopefully, we have a lot more green flagged racing than we had 1 week ago. But we're looking forward to seeing these guys get out their cars and start de-rusting a little bit as we get into week one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic race. Honestly, it's going to be one of those tricky races for a lot of people, specifically if they're not able to get their cars squeaky clean and get up to the bumpers of those in front of them. But I think we're in for one interesting race. I think we're in for a fantastic first race as well. It's going to be great to see how everyone does this first week. Charlotte Motor Speedway, also just one of the iconic tracks as well for just stock car racing in general. So I'm excited. I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm excited to get this show underway.
Yeah, absolutely. Some would call it the poor man's super speedway.
They would. They absolutely would.
It's not Daytona, it's not Talladega, but it has its own charm, no doubt about that one. As we get the qualifying going, we'll have times for you here as everything gets underway. But 100 laps that are going to be raced here this evening. Hopefully, most of them will not be in caution, as we had a week ago in the open race.
Yeah,
and
fingers
we will
crossed
go from
for that.
there. Right, exactly. But a lot of drivers, including some new ones, coming into this first season. As I want to lean on you for a minute and kind of go over some of the new faces and new cars that we see on the track at Charlotte for week one.
Absolutely. Some of these guys coming in for their very first time, some of them even coming in for the first time, just registering today, getting that last minute sign up in right before week one gets underway. Some of those guys, interesting. It's going to be interesting just to see how they do in stock car racing. Some of them we've seen maybe out in the public lobbies of iRacing in general, but some of these guys that we've never seen before, those of Chad Lancaster in the O2 we did see last week. He's going to be new to this season. Jacob Newman, the 00, signing up today as well. A couple other ones as well trying to get their bearings out there is the number 11 of Anthony Cuthbert, as well as number 56 of Fred Daniels. Number 62 of Gavin Graham. I think we might have seen him last week, but I'm not quite sure. And then the number 7 of Noah Davis as well.
He might have been around, Graham, talking about him. He might have been around
possibly. But one more person also to note for new faces is the number 76 of James Grimm. He also got in today. So quite a few interesting names and some new faces to look out on track for. But hopefully we can get even more going as the season goes.
At 23, I believe, is who we have signed up for this particular race out of a field of 28. That is pretty good. Returning members that we saw even just last week in the recruitment race, in the preseason race. Brandon Ward, we saw Jesse English, or Just Staying Alive in the Discord. He's there. Cole Micert, we saw Arthur Clements, along with many others. Chad Lancaster. No Andrew Hardcastle today. Nope, there he is right there. He's at the bottom of the list. He just popped in.
Yeah,
I say that.
He just got in time as the drivers were getting their driver's briefing done right before the open qualifying session, needless to say, as well. So another interesting name to look out for is that of Jimmy Hayden, the number 24, and the number 9 of Sean Ryan. Those two probably going to have a great battle this season, but Andrew Hardcastle going to be looking to be one of those top dogs with them as well.
Yeah, he definitely showed he has what it takes in the previous race a week ago.
He did in practice yesterday too. Yeah, so he's been great.
A lot of fun to be had. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the site. Chris Curtis, Drew Akers, Ben Ruprecht going to be race control and other things in the background as well. So got to give him a little bit of credit. as much as the
Always.
drivers
Yep.
may want to malign me for saying so. But, got some love from Dorian Jonet saying, "Go Anthony Cuthbert." On Facebook, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. For those that are wondering, thank you very much, Dorian, for giving some love to Anthony, and we invite you guys to join us in a chat on all three of the platforms. They'll all come across. We'll see them all, and give it and drop a follow on your respective platform. We'd love to see you in each and every week here in Downshift Esports. This is a week 1 race, plenty more to go, but a good start imperative for a lot of these drivers, especially the ones that probably have a little more expectation on themselves, veterans of Downshift from even previous iterations.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because one of one of the new iterations for the rulebook this season as well has been the implementation of drop weeks. We didn't have drop weeks in the previous season, but this season we're implementing one drop week that everyone can use. And if you're not using it early on, it's best to save that whenever it's needed, or whenever you're not feeling too comfortable on a track as well. Other things that we've also implemented are provisional points. If you use those drop weeks and you miss even more weeks, you'll have up to 2 provisional point weeks that you can participate in, where you will get the least number of points in missing that week. So, you don't want to be bottom of the barrel early on. You want to try and get up ahead as much as possible early on. So yeah. We'll have to see who can take advantage of that in today's race.
And worst case scenario, you get yourself a pretty good cushion in the standings, and then you're able to take a week off. Worst case scenario, and use one of those provisional weeks. That's fine.
Yeah.
As we believe the people are just getting out on the track for qualifying pretty quick, seeing cars leave the pit lane as they get themselves on the oval. 15 minutes of open qualifying about to get underway, and they will get things going with times. We'll see them start to fill up the timetable. We'll keep you updated with a list on your left-hand side on the screen. So it should be a lot of fun as we get things, well, really into motion at Charlotte Motor Speedway as these guys look to start off week 1 with a bang.
Absolutely, and it's going to be crucial for these guys to also use the draft to their possibility. That's the best thing with this open qualifier that's been changed for this season. That open qualifying opens up the possibility of getting an even faster time than what you would do on your own with that draft. And we've seen almost half a second pulled off in practice, getting faster even during practices yesterday, where people in the draft were getting that much faster. So if you're not utilizing that draft in an open qualifying like this, I truly don't know what you're doing. You better get out there, boys, and get behind somebody.
There was a full second difference between the best qualifying lap and the best race lap last season. And
yep.
It wasn't quite a full second, but it was pretty close. It was very, very interesting to see what the draft can do, especially at speeds where you're going tops probably 150, 160 on the back straightaway. Especially with that draft, that creates uber importance, especially as we go green flag.
Yep.
Staying in that pack, staying with the draft, you don't really want to get left out in the cold as far as that goes. Otherwise, it creates a really big effort needed to get back into it.
And the biggest thing, too, I was talking with the drivers, not only in yesterday's practice, but even in the little meeting they had before practice session opened today. Sure. Some of the drivers, worried about losing the car because the car is a little bit loose on this iteration with the new update to the street stocks with this new season of iRacing. But some of them were also kind of just worried that they might get lost in the pack in terms of draft as well. You can get lost, but some others were not as worried, as if you get a good 3 or 4 car pack going effectively as well, you'll be able to pull up to people that are 2-pack racing or even 3-pack racing at some point. So some of these drivers might be a little worried, but I know that some of them will also utilize every chance that they can get.
Yeah, one of the veterans of Downshift in general, Jimmy Hayden, has the best qualifying lap at the moment. And as I say that, looks like Hunter Firestone just jumped in and took that spot. 36.68 your top time, As of right now, Hunter has the pole, and so we'll see where. Or no, sorry, not even Hunter. I'm looking at the bottom. It's Cole Micret with a 36.
Oh, just got overtaken.
And it's Jesse English.
Yep.
All right, so qualifying laps coming in hot and heavy. We'll give that a second to catch up.
Yep.
That's a good start to qualifying. Open qualifying, of course. There's a bit of strategy. Is there a strategy to when you go hot lap in regards to your qualifying? Do you try to avoid the crowd, or at something like Charlotte, do you try to utilize that draft as much as possible?
At Charlotte, you're going to have to utilize the draft as much as you can. Not only will it help your times, but it's also going to help your fuel consumption as well. You're still going flat out, obviously, throughout the backstretch, but when you have that draft in the corner, you're going to be lifting a little bit just because of the speed that draft gives you off of the back end of that car. So fuel consumption would be a big consideration for this race. These drivers only have 3 other tires that they can use other than the tire set that they have for the start of the race. So that's going to be crucial to look out for, as well as these guys are going to have to pit multiple times over the course of this race.
Could be a fun one as things get going. The other thing to talk about too is the turns. Talking more about probably getting into the turn rather than going out of it. As in the turns, this is one of those tracks that I feel like you could probably work the outside a little bit more than other tracks to be able to pass in those corners. Is that something that you see pretty regularly with this track, or is it something that you really want to try to stick to your guns and try to take the inside if at all possible?
So these guys, it's a good thing I was sitting in the practice session yesterday too, because I learned a thing or two from all of these guys that know what they're doing. Yeah. These guys know exactly how to take these corners. They know exactly how to take the back stretch, the front stretch, and everything in between. But when you take these corners, you want to take it very carefully to the start, but you want to get down to that white and blue line that you see right there as fast as you can and keep it down there for the entirety of the lap up until you get to the tri-oval. So if these guys can make it happen to where they're able to utilize the draft as much as they can and keep that line all the way down there as well, they're going to have some blistering times on the board.
Fair enough. I had a couple of opportunities this week to talk to people in the general chat of the Street Stock League. And the biggest consensus that I got in trying to find the most challenging part of Charlotte is the consensus is just to survive. Make sure that you can put yourself in a position to get through this race with a decent position. Brett Wolf actually said it best, surviving, quote unquote. It was his response when I asked him that question. And that's when we started talking about the draft. And when you get out of the draft, as mentioned, it's hard to get back in, but with this type of track this is, you could likely get into a pack of 4 or 5 racers and still catch up to the majority of the rest of them up front.
Yeah, it's going to depend on how these guys handle the car in draft. It's going to be how they handle the car in front of them even. Because when you get that draft, you got to push that car effectively that both of you are able to get the speed that you need down the backstretch and into the corners. So these drivers know what they're doing. You know, they can do it much better than I. And that's why I'm up here in the booth with you, Chris.
Right. Yeah, I feel that's right. Chris Curtis, Drew Akers with you. Ben Ruprecht on Race Control today. We are at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the 100-lap Week 1 race of Downshift Esports Street Stock League. And we welcome those of you in watching this evening. Thank you very much on all 3 major platforms, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Thank you very much for being a part of week number 1. We have 22 racers that have posted a qualifying time as of right now. The top qualifying spot belongs to Jesse English at 36:53 for his qualifying lap. That's a pretty good time. I'm not sure where he was at in draft, but that's a real good start for Jesse English, who had a bit of a rough go in the preseason race 1 week ago.
Yeah, that preseason race, the recruitment race that we had last week, definitely didn't fare well for him in that massive 43 car field. But today he's looking definitely a little bit better in just a little under or a little over a 20 car field there. That 36.5 though will come from draft, so We've seen sometimes, number 3 of Cole Micret getting into the wall there. Don't want to do that, Cole. As previous season's champion, I would hope you would know that. But the 36.5, though, relatively slow, actually, compared to what we saw in yesterday's practice. Some of these guys going into the draft were hitting 36 4s, even possibly 36 3s. So
okay.
If they've got to utilize the next 20 seconds, though, Chris, or they're not going to beat our boy Jesse English right there.
Hard to believe 0.2 of a second makes all the difference in this
Absolutely.
particular, and a lot of it has to do, like you said, with that draft. So, but a lot of qualifying time left. Still more than a few laps out there that are live. Fred Daniels is on. Kenny McGrath, Cole Micret, as mentioned, he's on his lap. Looks like James Grimm and Jacob Newman, along with Andrew Hardcastle, as well, as we start to fall off the grid a little bit.
Yep, that will end our qualifying session, as the timer does tick down to 0 right there. So Jesse English, our pole sitter, that's going to be 1 point for him. He's going to get an early start and hopefully maybe an early finish. Or not an early finish, sorry. He doesn't want an early finish there for the start of this season. So everyone on track has set a time, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, not a lot of difference as well. Looks like
no, not really.
47 or 4/10 of a second was basically the difference between pole and the last qualifying place. So not too bad as far as parity is on that. Let's talk a little bit about this grid. Get everybody in and ready to go as they start their pace laps. First row, Jesse English is the pole sitter. Sean Ryan outside row 1. Jimmy Hayden, Hunter Firestone outside row 2. And Fred Daniels, Kenny McGrath, your outside row 3. That's your top 6 starting off on the grid and trying to keep with each other for at least a little while.
Yeah, Cole Micret sitting in 7th, probably not going to be happy with that time out of his best times as well. Brett Wolf, though, sitting in 8th place. That's probably going to be one of his personal bests that he's had. Brandon Ward sitting in 9th right there, with James Grimm, one of the new guys, sitting in 10th, along with Jacob Newman and Daniel Anderson wrapping out the top 12.
Yeah, look at Noah Davis. Saw him for a little while in the opening race. He is starting in 13th. Andrew Hardcastle, the veteran who just popped in at the last minute, he qualifies middle of the pack in 14th. 15th, 16th is Coy McGrath and Anthony Cuthbert. And that is going to bring us to 17th, Corey Abbott. And Gavin Graham, who we saw for a cup of coffee last week as well, rounds out your top 18.
Absolutely. With the back 4 is Brian Voles, someone who probably is going to have a breakout season this season. Hopefully, we'll have to see how he does. Patrick Howard in 20th. Chad Lancaster in 21st. Probably not somewhere he wants to be, with Arthur Clements wrapping out your grid right there. So, a great grid that we do have today, Chris, and I'm excited to see how the start goes.
Yeah, we're just about to get it underway as the green flag is working on coming out. The pacing is getting underway as they get up to top speed, and you'll start to see these cars pack up a little bit. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 is more or less where they want to start things out to keep at top speed and keep themselves with the pack, and should be interesting to see how aggressive they want to be off that green flag start. How fast do we start to see a 3 wide situation is the question.
Oh, I hope not too early. the last time we had a 3 wide situation at Charlotte, it turned into a 4 wide situation, which ended up taking out one of our most experienced drivers on the track. So let's try not to have something too crazy here, boys.
Could be fun.
Could be fun, but dangerous.
Yeah, pace cars out front, getting everybody going as we're getting things underway. Charlotte Motor Speedway, 100 laps. It is week 1 of Downshift Esports Street Stock League, and thank you very much for being a part of it. Pace car, believe, did not have lights on it. I think we're good to go just about as these guys get up to speed. And it is indeed pace car off the track. We are green flag ready to go for lap number 1 as we are underway for week 1 of the Street Stock League. And immediately you see the 24 getting into the leader, giving a little push as it looks like it is going to be Hunter Firestone in that 28, getting, or in that 18, sorry, getting a little bit ahead.
Yep, he's going to sit into 5th place right there, right behind Fred Daniels and Jimmy Hayden. Sean Ryan taking that outside slot, though. Look for the number 3 of Cole Micrit to try and make a run somewhere in the middle of this race as well. 100 laps to go. We've got a long way to go.
We do indeed. Jesse English still sitting out front. Sean Ryan, Jimmy Hayden, your top 3, and Sean Ryan overtakes Jesse English for the top spot on the grid, at least for the moment. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, Jesse English might have gotten a little bit loose as he now drops to 5th place right there. He dropped very fast, and that might have been scary just a tad for him.
Yeah, a little bit, but he does stay green, at least keeps control of the car as these ones go around.
3 wide back there.
Yep, that could be fun as we are very, very close to our first caution of the race, but not quite, as they're able to hold it off. Sean Ryan still in front, and Hunter Firestone is up into 4th place. Cole Micrit right in his qualifying position, the winner from last season. He is in 7th, and looking for other ones. Looks like Coy McGrath is working his way up towards the top 10. He's in the top 10 now, with Brett Wolf close behind him.
Yeah, Coy is going to get hit right there by the number 76, though. And that's going to cause a caution. That's going to be the first caution of the day. Thankfully, able to save it and not hit the wall for either driver.
76 James Grimm is the one who got into Coy. We have radio on our side. An immediate apology from James Grimm to Coy as we have ourselves our first caution of today's race.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was no ill intent whatsoever there, and I'm not sure if he just got maybe just a tad loose. We'll have to take a look, but it can get scary sometimes with something like that. Yes. It really can. It's just...
Yep.
It can get so scary.
Yeah, it can, especially down towards the apron there. Just a little bit of unintentional contact there. Probably just looking for a bump and run. Instead, there was a lot of bumping and not so much running. And
yeah.
That turned into a bit of an issue there as the two kept going and couldn't really do anything with it.
Yeah, and hopefully... Yeah, it looks like he just got maybe a little loose. Maybe a spotter wasn't talking into his ear either. I'm not 100% sure, but regardless, both drivers able to come out relatively unscathed, and hopefully will stay that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Coy McGrath keeps the 10 spot at the very least, so that's not too bad. And 76 James Grimm down to 15. And did you see something?
Yeah, a couple early pit stops coming out from Jimmy Hayden, Coy McGrath, Gavin Graham, and Andrew Hardcastle, all in the pits currently. So 4 drivers currently in the pits.
Hardcastle was one that took some early pits last week as well. I'm starting to think that might be a strategy for him, just based on the fact that he's not gonna have to pit when others may have to, as he's gonna have basically a fresh start coming out of this. He may be a lap down, but I think it might be worth it in his eyes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell for sure what his strategy may be, and that's why it's a strategy that he himself only knows. If we knew everything, I don't think it would be as secretive or as competitive either. So maybe there's something we shouldn't know that he knows, but maybe we'll see it play out for the remainder of this race.
Lap 5 of 100. We're under our first caution of the day. Hopefully not the first of many, as we had way too many of those last week in the recruitment race. But either way, the first few laps, they got going pretty quick. A couple of nice passes, and you really only saw the one issue, other than maybe you saw Jesse English come down off the leaders pretty quick, but it was able to hold on.
Yeah, he was able to hold on. That was a good move from him, and props to the other drivers as well of James Grimm. I'm not quite sure what may have happened with him, but the way it looked, it just looked so like the car may have snapped or something to the left. So his ability to keep that on track and keep it out of the wall is a good skill to have. So all those drivers out there looking to get into ovals, maybe take some notes.
Yeah, front straightaway is where they're at. We'll have one more lap for the pace car, one more lap for caution, as these guys grid back up and get ready to go, get into formation. So looks like everybody's going back to why this should be indeed the last caution lap as the lights are off. Looking forward to more green flag racing. They got up pretty good. The speeds were pretty good. They generally, like you said, they were in packs, but they were kind of in separate packs. There wasn't really one big pack where the draft lived. It was kind of packs of 4 or 5 cars at a time, just kind of feeding off each other and getting up to the top speed.
Yeah, and some of these guys might not want to stay in a big pack early on because that also because keeping in those big packs, especially when you're 2 wide and or even 3 wide at times, can really just call for a caution or some type of incident. So some of these guys may just want to go 2x2 for now, but it really gets important to go 4-man, 5-man packs when you're really down and out of there. So. Look for the number 9 car, though. He's been having great starts, Sean Ryan, out of all of these oval races, so we'll have to see how he starts here.
He is going to start off up front. Fred Daniels, Hunter Firestone, your top 3. Jesse English worked his way back up to 4. Cole Mykert, top 5 with Kenny McGrath in the 6th spot. Watch Andrew Hardcastle and Gavin Graham, both of those 2 pitted just a bit ago, and they stayed on the lead lap. They're in the back of the pack at the moment, but already starting to work their way up the grid as Andrew Hardcastle moves up a position. We're green flag again. Lap 7 of 100 as you saw the restart that Sean Ryan got. He's got one behind him working the draft, but and looks like that draft is going to pay off, looks like, for Fred Daniels, who's working his way up front.
Yeah, and he just took the inside line there, and he is now up fighting for the lead currently, or the outside line, I should say. But that draft, as we've seen, the number 15 getting a little loose there of Kenny McGrath, that's not something you want to see early on.
Front straightaway doing good work for Fred Daniels, is able to take the outside lead again for the moment. See if Sean takes it on the turn. He does. So back and forth they go, 1-2. Hunter Firestone moves up to 3. Cole Mykert 4. Jesse English into the 5 spot as Cole passed him. And the top 6 staying pretty steady. Watch out for Brett Wolf, who's close to top 6 as well. He's in the 7th spot. He's worked his way up.
Yep, he's moved up a spot, but look at Noah Davis. He's moved up 7 spots total, getting up into that 6th spot. So, good moves from him. We'll have to see how he pans out for the rest of this race. But a good battle for 8th as well going on here, as we're seeing Anthony Cuthbert now taking that 8th spot, and hopefully getting on the back of Brett right there as well.
Keeping an eye on Jimmy Hayden getting a little aggressive on the back of the couple cars in front of him, but good blocking in front of him stops him from taking those positions. Just take positions in front. Just watch him as he tries to work his way into the top 10. Sean Ryan, Fred Daniels trading back and forth the lead. Sean is in front at the moment. Hunter Firestone and then Jesse English is taken back forth from Cole Mykert as the top 6 again remains pretty much the same. Andrew Hardcastle up to 18th from 21st after the pit on the first caution of the day. So watch him. And then Brandon Ward, who has an interesting name for the paint job from the 10-year-old daughter, and I don't exactly 100% remember what that was.
I think it was called Cool and Unique Fairy. Sorry. Not cute. Cool and Unique Fairy, the name of his car design today, made by his 10-year-old daughter. That is just something that's so heartwarming to see, as we're now a 10th through this race, Chris.
Yeah, lap number 11. Good start for the first 100 laps of the regular season, and all right there. Lap 11 breeds our second caution of the day, as that car goes vertical when it should still be going horizontal.
We've seen some Drift King stuff happen from our Drift King of Jimmy Hayden, but you don't want to do that during a race, Andrew, and I think he may have gotten turned. We'll have to take a replay here shortly to see what happened.
Yeah, exactly. That's not ideal as far as that goes, but that'll put the racers back to a nominal speed. And, second caution of the day. If we're getting one every 10 laps, we're doing... well, not as well as we did even last week, so I'm hoping that stays away for the longest time.
I hope so as well. We'll try and get a replay shortly here just to see what may have happened with Andrew Hardcastle. And it looks like he might have gotten turned just a tad there, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Hardcastle. He had a good race, so he had a good couple of runs last week, but this race still very early on, so there's no reason why he can't maybe get it going. He will almost certainly be down a lap at this point going in.
Yeah, he's he's not going to be happy about it necessarily, but it is what it is, unfortunately for him. Yeah, I'm not sure if he was trying to go down or if I think the number 2 of Coy McGrath was going up into him, but needless to say, both of them got into a little bit of contact, and the end result is as what we saw, as we see tons of drivers now coming into the pits.
Yeah, that is 9 different racers going into the pits. Fred Daniels, who was working with Sean Ryan up front, he is back in the pits. Sean stays out for the moment. Hunter Firestone moves into 2, Jesse English 3, Cole Micret 4. But yeah, you see a lot of different options or different cars in the pits at the moment. Hopefully they have decent pit stops and can get out and remain on the lead lap as long as possible.
Yeah, and the caution is really going to help you with staying out of those lapse situations. If you try and do a green flag stop when everyone else is not on that same strategy, you're going to find yourself in a little bit of a hole at times with these cars specifically. These cars aren't necessarily meant for long pit stops or even green flag pit stops. They're not really meant for pit stops, period. But we make it a little interesting here at Downshift Esports, and I think it's honestly something that plays a little bit into the pit strategies as well, where it's really just you never know. You really never know what's going to happen. So it puts a little bit of a risk factor as well.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a risk-reward situation really all the way throughout in a track like this. How aggressive do you want to be? And I guess aggression really was not the reason for the couple of cautions in this particular on this particular race, at least early on. But as things get going, we get further into this race, a little bit more desperation seeps in, looking for points. We could start to see a few more of those. Could be fun.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it pans out. It's right now we're getting a little hectic back in the back there. We had a couple cautions going right now, but as the drivers line up too wide, hoping for this new restart, maybe we'll see some new moves. Hopefully not a lot of spinning, but 2 cautions in a little over 12 laps, I'd say. Let's try and keep it down and get some green flag racing going, and we'll see how it pans out.
Straight from the eyes of Ben Ruprecht, race control, and these are spotter up here. Looks like Cole Micret and Hunter Firestone may work together on the top line, and then it looks like Brandon Ward had to take a few seconds for repairs at that last caution from getting into the wall. Looks like he's patched up and good to go, as I believe we are as well. As I see no lights on the pace car, we're about to get underway for the third time green flag racing.
Yep, this restart's probably going to be one of the most crucial as well, because of the fact that it's not necessarily in the middle, but everyone's gotten their pit stops in. Everyone may have taken tires. I don't think everyone did, but depending on how your pit stop went, we're going to have to see how these drivers handle it, as we're going to go green here in just a second.
Yeah, green indeed, and then you take a look and everybody's still on the lead lap, which is good news for everybody that is on the grid. We're ready to go. Lap 14 of 100 as they get full speed again up the front straightaway, and we see it is immediately Sean Ryan who gets a pretty good start, about half a second ahead of Jesse English in the 2 spot.
Yeah, that's a great start yet again from the number 9 of Sean Ryan. He just has this thing with 3 starts where he's so good at them and able to just fly away from the guys behind him. He may want to stick by, though, because that draft, yet again, as we talk about it again on this track, is going to be useful for all the drivers if they're able to handle it.
We talked about Cole Micret and Hunter Firestone in that caution. They are working 3 and 4 together right now, and looks like it is Cole who is just 1/10 of a second, almost 1.5 tenths of a second ahead of Hunter. Hunter working the draft on him, and I think they're working together to try to catch up to the 2 in front of them, talking about Jesse English and Sean Ryan.
Yeah, and that's the number 7 of Noah Davis trying to go on the inside, falling in with that line of the pack there, and Brett Wolf trying to keep his pace on the side right there, maybe trying to get some kind of a side draft, and he looks to be in the wall currently. I don't think that's what you want to do, Brett, as he goes down to the apron, and I think I heard an engine blow as well as he spins into pit lane.
That is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. I want to point you out to Brian Voles, who has worked his way up into the 6th spot as well, up 13 positions from his qualifying spot. So watch for him as he gets closer to the top 5.
And he just made a great pass as well, or Jimmy Hayden made a great pass, rather, who's on the back of Brian Voles right now. Brian has to be a little bit careful, and I think I saw something in the background as we get another caution.
Yeah, another yellow flag, our third of the day. Didn't see which car got turned around, but it looks like some touch from the back is a bit of an issue at the back of the pack.
Number 5, that bumper does not look to be in the greatest shape right there.
Arthur Clements.
Yeah, Arthur Clements getting into that. I'm not sure what may have happened, as we'll try and get a replay.
Yeah, it looks like it looked like there was some touch on the back of Arthur Clements, if I'm right, and it turned him around. And you see he's a little bit messed up there, as he'll have to go for some repairs likely. But not a great start from Arthur Clements, who had a decent week a week ago. And as we look for the rest of the pack, things start to slow down. And looking to see if we have a replay for that.
Yeah, trying to find it here to see if we can maybe see what may have happened on the backstretch. I'm not sure if it necessarily was a spin or anything like that, but oh yeah, that's not what you want to see going into that, as the number 76 seems to have gone up into Arthur Clements right there and just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, a little bit of the second time we've seen some stuff from James Grimm, and both of them not necessarily his fault. And a bit of an arrow spin on the first one. He got down into the apron, and there was a car underneath him. And then in this one, just got into the back, I think, of the of Arthur Clements and kind of spun him around.
I'm wondering if we can find something with James Grimm. Ah, I see. He tried to get back up onto the apron there.
Got it.
Or back up onto the track from the apron, and couldn't quite handle it at a top speed. So you see what happens there when you try and do that. Take some notes again, people, as you may not want to end up like our buddy James right there.
Almost 20% of the way through this race, dropped 19 of 100 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Downshift Esports, first week of the Street Stock League, as these guys are out here for the first time in official standing. There was a recruitment race a week ago. Not too late to get into the Discord, by the way, downshiftesports.com. The social links are in there to join up on the many different options you have to get involved with a pretty good racing community and a lot of people that can help you get better. Not just iRacing, but racing in general. Good racing enthusiasts all over the Discord channels. Definitely a good place to be for those. I've learned a lot just in my short amount of time in this community, and it's been fun.
Yeah, we're glad that you learned some stuff, Curtis, because it's always nice to teach somebody something that's you're passionate about. I know all these guys on the track, myself included, have a big passion for motorsports. It just came to light, much more strong this season as I've met some of these guys, because they teach me, even as I know a little bit about motorsports, but they teach me a little bit more as we go on every day. So glad to have these guys by my side. Glad I can learn some stuff with them or from them as well. But Curtis, I want to bring Brett Wolf into the broadcast booth. I have an interview with him. He has sadly ended up in his pit box, and I think he has been out of the race. Brett, can you tell me what may have happened there?
Hey, Kicker. I got a little flustered there, and in an attempt to save the car, I just blew the engine. So yeah. Oh man. Unfortunately, that's just going to be the end of my race there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But you did run in this race, and you will get quite a few points, regardless of how far it may be. How crucial does trying to rebound from this race seem to be when it comes to these other races?
Well, it was the leadoff race, so it was a hope to gather any sort of momentum coming into the season tonight, especially being Charlotte, which is one of my favorite tracks. But luckily, I think we're going to be at here next week again, so just getting some more track time in and just not practicing, driving around other people to not get flustered and have this happen again next week.
Green flag, green flag.
We wish you all the luck next week. I think we're actually somewhere different, but we will get Charlotte at some point in this season, so hopefully we'll see you take some reins in that race. But sad to see you out this early. Hopefully everything goes well back in the garage, and hopefully you're all right as well.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you.
All right. Brett Wolf, who unfortunately has an early finish in this first week race. Back to Green Flag Racing. Lap 21 of 100. Sean Ryan, Jesse English, your top two. Cole Margaret, Noah Davis, 3-4. Jimmy Hayden and Anthony Cuthbert, your 5-6. As we work our way towards lap 21. Anthony Cuthbert, let's talk about him for a minute. He's a new driver, and he has worked his way up 10 positions from his qualifying spot into the top 6 currently. Good work from him.
Absolutely. He's been so excited to start this season specifically. He signed up for both the Street Stock League and the Formula V League. He's been talking to me a lot, specifically trying to figure out, what's the best way of going about some of these things, especially with the Street Stocks. I'm not sure if he has a ton of experience in the Street Stocks, but just from the sound of it, when I've talked to him, even chatted with him just over some messages, he seems to be one of those guys that's really, really looking forward to just participating in this season in general.
Top lap of the day right now belongs to, that is Noah Davis at 36:41. There's a bunch in that particular category as well, but the little bit quicker as they get through and go top speed. But we went a long time without a caution there, at least for a little while. Hopefully we have more here as these guys start to get going. Cole Mykert and Jesse English trading 2-3 at the moment. And look at Anthony Cuthbert. We talk about him, and he moves up to the top 5.
He is now up in the top 5, trying to fight Jimmy Hayden for that spot as well. He's alongside Noah Davis, though, right now, taking a battle with Hunter Firestone hot on their tails. Hunter Firestone as well, a returning driver, just a last-minute sign-up. He has decided to come back for this season. Last season, he kind of took a bow throughout the season so he could tend to his newly born kids. So glad to see him back out on track, and hopefully he's doing all right. Sleepless nights can get really hectic with a new kid.
I'm watching Jimmy Hayden. He was up in the middle of the pack, and now he's up top 3. He's been top 2. You got the top 4 racers really in a 4-pack going on right now at the front. Even I'd say top 6, as you have single file 5 and 6 at the moment. The racers go. And as we say that looks like 5th and 6th got into 7th, and 7th is eating 8th.
No,
they're eating 9th, and that's just not going to work. As we have another caution, our 5th of the day.
Oh, man, that's definitely not what you wanted to see there, but that was Noah Davis getting sideways into Hunter Firestone right there. I'm not quite sure what may have happened, and we'll get a replay here shortly, but that's just something I wasn't quite sure of. I did see him going up and down on that corner. When you try and overcorrect or something like that, that's what can happen. So some damage, and hopefully he can get it fixed, but he might be lacking on the top speed category there, Chris.
Yeah, at least for a moment, as we get back to another caution, a quarter of the way through this race, and we've had a decent bit of those, at least as of right now. We get going for a bit, and then all of a sudden the wheels kind of fall off, pun not intended, as they get going. We'll see what happened here out of this turn.
Yep, and as we saw the number 7 trying to correct it necessarily, and you can see all the collection as well that happened when he tried to save it. It's nothing Hunter Firestone could do there, and Andrew Hardcastle sadly getting into that mix as well. I think that's Coy McGrath. Nope, that's the number 56 of Fred Daniels getting into that, and then number 20 of Andrew Hardcastle also getting hit right there as he tried to just avoid everything and sadly got collected.
It's like 11 racers going into the pits at the moment. Might be 12 or 13. Almost everybody is in the pits at the moment. So that could mean good things for those that were in that wreck. Andrew Hardcastle's down a lap at this point. Thought he might be able to escape it from earlier, as it looks like there's a whole lot one lap down. Arthur Clements remains the only one not in the pits at the moment, and we'll see how long that lasts. Nope, that changes, as it looks like now we have 6 that have decided not to pit, at least for the moment. Fred Daniels taking the top spot.
Yeah, we'll see what the strategy is for those guys, as I think some of them might be trying to just get an early start on the restarts maybe, or maybe pitting a little bit later down the front straight rather, but we'll see what the strategy comes out to for some of those guys. One of those guys also staying out there is the number 2 of Coy McGrath, who we did see get into a little bit of some things earlier on in the last caution, so he stays out. But a couple of good messages coming from our race controller as well out of Ben Ruprack that a couple guys are missing some wheels, and those might not be able to be put back on.
Yeah, Andrew Hardcastle missing a wheel, as is Coy McGrath was missing a wheel as well. Again, I think that's the 3.
Chad Lancaster.
Oh, got it. Yeah, you're right. Chad Lancaster, you're exactly right. I was thinking 2 was okay. Either way, that's a problem. I mean, they only have so many replacement wheels they can put on, and then if they are out, they're out.
Well, the big thing is if they're missing a wheel entirely on their car, that's not going to be easy to replace regardless. The suspension can get messed up. The bumper itself can just go into the wheel and maybe even pop the tire at some point. So some of these guys might have some long repair times if they do have repair times. But let's just fingers crossed that these guys did not get hung up into the pits like our buddy Brett Wolf.
Yep, that's a fair point. Andrew Hardcastle seems to be the one taking the worst of it at the moment. We'll see if he can get the repair done. He's got a little over 2 minutes of repair time, 2.5 minutes of repair time. But back up towards the front of the pack at the moment, Fred Daniels, Jacob Newman, Corey Abbott, your top 3, and Coy McGrath, Jimmy Hayden, and Gavin Graham, who we haven't heard from in a while, is up in the top 6. So, I mean, maybe a chance for those guys to work up front for a bit as we work on getting back to green flag racing here in just a minute.
Yeah, Peace Car still has the lights on, so we'll go around one more time, it looks like. I think that might be the race controller trying to get the field bunched up there, but one of these guys that we're also seeing just still in the pits is the number 5, Arthur Clements. He's still there. The number 20, as we see, Chad Lancaster missing that entire wheel. I think Noah Davis also, Noah Davis, who spun, is also in the pits currently. So 4 guys in the pits trying to get repairs as we see these guys going around another lap here.
Yeah, they're starting to get packed up, though, so we'll see if we can get this done as they're on the front straightaway at the moment. But, we start to, and actually, as we say that, Jacob Newman works his way to the front along with Fred Daniels. And the Anthony Cuthbert was having some fun at the top of the pack. He's now working top 10 at the very least. I want to really still pay attention to Jimmy Hayden. He had a real good run before that last caution. I'd like to see if he can keep that going off the restart. And Brandon Ward works his way up to the top 7 and top 6 as well.
Yeah, one of the notable things is that Jimmy Hayden, out of all the guys that did end up pitting, he is the first one out and top of that pack. So Jimmy Hayden looking for some aggressive moves early on. I think he's been trying to get on a tear this entire race. We'll see how it pans out for him.
And it should be green as they're on the back straightaway now. So we are just about to get back going again. Lap 29 of 100 about to turn to 30% done in this race. And we'll take a look. You talk about Jimmy Hayden. Got to look at Sean Ryan as well. He's in the 9th position, very good at those restarts. Maybe he can get a couple positions coming out of the restart. Arthur Clements is blue. Looks like he might be done as well as his race may be over.
Yep, and we're going to go green flag here shortly as the number 56 of Fred Daniels decides to keep it still just for a second, kind of anticipating a quick launch there. But keep an eye on the number 24 of Jimmy Hayden as they try and move up the pack early on, getting already side by side with the number 2 car.
Yeah, it looks like Fred Daniels trying to do what he can to play defense and not let anybody pass him on the draft, but they are really tight up front. So watch that. They're single file, 6 cars deep on the bottom near that apron as they are up and gone. And already Gavin Graham has taken the lead on this. Fred Daniels moving back 8-9 positions in a very short amount of time as we remain green flag racing.
Yep, this is a good green flag start by Gavin Graham in the number 62. He now leads this race. 17 places made up since his qualifying, but he's going to now have the 0-0 of Jacob Newman on his inside and now taking the lead.
It looks like Arthur Clements is back on track, and the 7 car of Noah Davis is back on track as well. They're just going to take some time to get caught up, as well as James Grimm, who was back a bit They are back going again, still looking for Andrew Hardcastle to get finished up and Chad Lancaster. But we are green flag, and we're going pretty good along this front straightaway.
Yeah.
As they've done another full lap, as we've seen really some good lead changes at the front as Gavin Graham has moved up to 2 and 3.
Yeah, and these guys are getting a little bit aggressive. You can see it ever so slightly, but some of these guys getting some door banging going on currently. It's going to be quite interesting to see if they can handle that, but door banging also leads to possibly some turns, some quarter panel hits. Try to be a little bit careful, boys, as the 44 getting a little loose right there from the bump of the number 28 of Hunter Firestone.
Yeah, 00 nearly got the brunt end of that as Brian Voles nearly got into Jacob Newman into the backside of that wall, but was able to keep it straight and keep it going. But the for top 10 cars, top 9 cars, all working in a bit of a pack, working with that draft as they are separating themselves from the rest of the field pretty spectacularly as they're going top speed. As 44 Brian Voles, you said he felt a little bit loose, it looked like, and that is evident by the fact he almost got it into the apron there.
Yep. Some of these guys touching the apron, that's not what you want to do, boys, but the 00 of Jacob Newman keeping that top side line. I think he's just trying to maybe stay out of all the hectic battles that are going on right now and the hectic door banging, as some of these guys are getting a little loose on the low end right there. So he is deciding to play it a little bit safe as he takes the middle line there, and 3 wide with the number, I think that was the number 21. Nope, that was the number 62 up there, up on the high line. And look at that, down all the way below onto the apron was number 44. He's Brian Voles going to drop a couple spots there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did that just to kind of get out of the pack. He seemed a little bit loose, and I think he's going to take his time and get back into it. But you talked about that was Gavin Graham. When he got up high there, I think he may have grazed the wall, which put him back a little bit. He's up in the 6th spot now. Jimmy Hayden has come all the way up to take the top spot with Coy McGrath not far behind.
Yeah, it's getting really antsy for some of these guys. It's good to be aggressive, but some of these guys might need to just watch it a little bit as they're pushing 4, even 5 wide at times. So
yeah.
A little bit interesting at 15. Kenny McGrath gets up into the wall there, and he's lost a bumper. Most surely this might be a caution. He stays rolling, so he is good for the moment. No caution, as everyone got out relatively unscathed.
Yeah, no, not a lot of aerodynamics left in that particular bump, but he did survive. It looks like we remain green flag. Jesse English moving back up into the 7th spot. Watch for him. Cole Meichert in the 4. Haven't heard from him in a bit, but Jacob Newman, Coy McGrath, and Jimmy Hayden, your top 3 that you mentioned earlier. These guys were 4 and 5 wide a little while ago. Now we have some separation, about 2-3 car lengths that looks like Cole Meichert has on Gavin Graham between 4 and 5. That's a fun little race to watch as they will fight for that spot and try to get back up into the draft of the top 4.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if they want to fight for it necessarily. I think what they're going to try and do is get a little bit of a push and a little bit of a draft to try and catch these guys in the 3-pack up at the front, because these guys with that Kenny McGrath incident up in the wall got a little bit slower from the guys that were ahead of him. So these guys are probably going to need to try and push as much as they can to get up back to the front pack.
Single file 1, 2, 3. Jimmy Hayden, Coy McGrath, and Jacob Newman. They're running right now on the front straightaway into turn 1. The front half of this field looking pretty good. Notable drops that have happened at this point. Noah Davis has unfortunately ended his day. He tried to get back out there, just couldn't quite let it hang. Arthur Clements is done as well, and Brett Wolf, who we talked to a little while ago. And talk about Andrew Hardcastle. He's working on 10.5 minutes of repairs in the pits at the moment due to his issue earlier. So I don't know if we'll get a chance to see him again today, but hopefully we do.
Oh man, that camera change just made me laugh just a little bit. But the cars, just tells you how close these guys are. And looking at the back of Gavin Graham as Hunter Firestone gets a little loose right there. You can see as he goes down to the apron and loses a couple spots there. Sean Ryan now at the back of Gavin Graham.
No, that was interesting to see, to say the least. We got a good look at Gavin Graham's undercarriage. One would say we got to look at these nuts. All right,
I think
there
we
you
did.
go. But Gavin Graham fighting for the fifth spot right now. Cole Micret in front of him. Still a decent couple of car lengths between the two of them, and see if they get a draft going together and maybe get up towards the top. But Jimmy Hayden, Jacob Newman, Coy McGrath, the top three really haven't changed much, other than Jacob taking the 2 spot away from Coy at the moment. See if that remains, as these guys, we got just about everybody minus 6 racers on the lead lap, which is good news at this point of the race.
Absolutely, and you're seeing these guys now reaching the top pack, and that's good. But you're also seeing these guys now filing in line, single file, as the top 9, I think, are now in this draft line here. So it's going to be interesting to see how the back of the field, 10 and lower, can try and handle trying to get back up to the pack in general. As I say that, we go too wide with Sean Ryan down on the apron almost, and the number 3 of Cole Micret gets a little loose and up into the wall almost. He is now saved that, but Sean Ryan making more aggressive moves as he is now side by side with the number 2 of Coy McGrath, and they get a little bit sideways, but save it nonetheless. Sean Ryan making some aggressive moves there.
Yeah, he was a little bit aggressive, but he also just about felt the wrath of Coy McGrath as he came down towards the apron. And I believe there was a little bit of door banging going on there, if I'm not mistaken, but they were able to hold it together. I misspoke, by the way. Arthur Clement's not done. He is out on the track now, so he is good to go as of right now. See if he can work his way back up, at least onto the lead lap. That would be a heck of an achievement for him. But Jimmy Hayden, Sean Ryan now moved up into the top 2 from that aggressive move he had earlier. He moved the inside and got all the way up to the front of that pack, and is now challenging Jimmy Hayden for the lead of the race.
Yeah, and a note as well, Corey Abbott there in the 21 car, he is in the pits. That is a green lap pit. He will go down a lap here as he tries to get his fuel and maybe some tires. We'll see where he ends up in terms of the relative lap when he comes back out. But look at this. A good run from number 11 of Anthony Cuthbert, now on the outside of the number 36, Daniel Anderson.
Yeah, we're fighting for 7th and 8th there. Gavin Graham behind them. As Coy McGrath working his way back up. Cole Micret, the winner from last season, also up there. Brian Voles has worked his way up. He seems to be a little more confident in the way his car is handling, as he's up in the top 3, top 4 area. And fun to see what he can do. He was feeling a little bit loose earlier. He was looking a little bit loose earlier, but has seemingly put it back under control, as you see the top 4 really in box grid formation, and 5, 6 start to get a little bit scrambled as we go along the back straightaway.
Yep, these guys are now just a 2x2 as we're back into the front pack here. Sean Ryan and Jimmy Hayden battling out for the lead. Cole Micret,
that's a good run.
Yeah, good run from Jimmy on the bottom line there. Brian Voles not necessarily taking the opportunity to go with him, but he'll get back up to him very quickly. And Cole Micret just sitting back, being patient, watching for his opportunity just in case something might go awry.
Yeah, Sean Ryan working the outside, kind of content to stay out there and watch things underneath him towards the apron. He's sitting still in the 2 spot. Brian Voles works his way up to the 3, and Sean Ryan is taking the lead on the outside away from Jimmy Hayden. We'll see how long he keeps it.
Hopefully he keeps it as much as he can, but Brian Voles not adjusting for that draft. Number 3, Cole Micret getting sideways just a tad bit. I was really worried he was going to come down into the number 44 there.
Watch for 28, the car of Hunter Firestone. He's currently still able to work the draft of Brian Voles in front of him, but if they start to get some separation, he may be the odd man out of this 4-pack of racers. So watch for that, as you have the couple, probably 5 car lengths between him and 6th place at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he does, but Coy McGrath also on a green flag. Pit stop number 9, getting sideways. Sean Ryan just snapped it a little bit, as you saw. He was able to save it, but drops a few places. Great save from our guy there, and he spins the number 3 of Cole Micret. Oh my goodness, that was a dirty crash.
Oh, and you hear somebody on the radio all by myself. So that had to happen. I have a feeling that would be that might have been Cole as he got dumped back behind him, or Jimmy up front. Not sure either way, but a lot of fun being had on the radios either way. And I know that wasn't intentional talking about Sean Ryan getting into Cole Meiker, but Cole Meiker got the brunt of that for sure.
Absolutely. As this whole front bumper is now off, as you can see. We'll try and see. I think he just didn't know he was still there. His spotter didn't call it, maybe. I'm not quite sure, but that is going to hopefully not be the end of this race, but he's going to lose some speed and possibly quite a few laps as well.
Andrew Hardcastle, news for him, caution out on the track, and he is back on the track after an almost 14-minute repair. So that's something to keep an eye on. And
impressive.
Yeah, that's
impressive.
dedication right there.
Yeah, exactly. That is impressive as we see a multitude of cars now coming onto pit lane. Going to be interesting how those guys that pitted on the green flag laps, those of Coy McGrath and Corey Abbott, fare as they might stay out and get a lap back.
Yeah, see how many positions Hardcastle can get back. McGrath in the pits, just about everybody is in the pits with the exception of one Sean Ryan at the moment. He's on track, and everybody else behind him with the exception of Jacob Newman, who just had a pit stop, is in pit lane at the moment. So good opportunity for Sean Ryan to maybe get some distance between him and the rest of the field, but fun times coming. As that was the longest we've gone green, I think, since the preseason season started for this freestyle league.
Honestly, I think it has been. It's been a good stint of green flag racing. I think we might have gone maybe somewhere around 20 laps there, somewhere around there in the ballpark.
Yeah.
But a good stint from these guys on track. Some of these guys taking advantage of the caution laps, though, to get a good pit stop, as we'll have to see how the two guys of Coy McGrath and Corey Abbott on those green flag pit stops fare out. But as we say that, Sean Ryan, Andrew Hardcastle now going in pits, which would leave Coy McGrath and Corey Abbott up behind the pace car, and they will be able to get their laps back. Maybe. I think we'll have to see here.
They're going to try. And actually, as we say that, talking about Andrew Hardcastle going back into the pits after the long repair, that's not good news for him.
No, it is not.
As he tries to finish up those repairs and try to get back out on the track and get something done. But we're closing in on the halfway point of this race. Chris Curtis, Drew Akers with you in Downshift Esports' first race of the regular season at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And welcome to those of you watching on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, as we are halfway through the first go-round in week number 1 of the regular season in Charlotte.
It's been an exciting race so far, Curtis, and we're only just about halfway through. It's going to be interesting to see how the latter half of this race pans out. But needless to say, I think we've seen quite a few aggressive moves. You know, some great moves as well. Sean Ryan and Jimmy Hayden have made up some impressive time. But to take a note as well, Brian Voles has moved up 16 places, now sits 3rd place. Anthony Cuthbert as well has moved up 12 places, now sits P4. Brandon Ward has had a good start to his race as well, hopefully staying out as much as he can on the lead lap, but he sits in P7, gaining 2 places. Gavin Graham and Patrick Howard both getting 12 places from their qualifying, both of them sitting in P6 and P8 respectively.
Talking about the first week of the regular season, we'd be remiss if we did not mention our sponsor, Needham Designs. Needham Designs has been providing the racing community with replica and custom liveries, race suits, and helmets since 2019. Chris Needham has been working together with a number of real-life racers to replicate their paints in the iRacing service and continues to provide a range of liveries for Porsche Club America members racing in the PCA Sim Racing Series. While most of Chris's work is done on commission, he does provide a selection of free-to-use liveries uploaded to his Trading Points profile, including the Downshift Esports Street Stock and Formula V liveries. Check out Needham Designs on Twitter, Instagram, and join the Discord server at needhamdesigns.uk/Discord for more information on getting your very own Needham Design custom paint. I believe we are just about set to go green again as these guys are getting packed up and ready to go. Lap 50, and on the back straightaway of lap 50 is where we are at.
Absolutely. Taking a note as well of the 00, just going a little bit slow here on the apron. I'm not sure if that's something of his own doing or if he's waiting for a car, but it looks like he's probably getting back on the gas here. So hopefully nothing too too much for him there, as it looks like he might be getting back going. But we're about to go green as the pace car tries to go into the pit stalls.
And they is indeed going green. Lap 50 turning into 51 of 100, the halfway point in this race. As we look at the top three, Jimmy Hayden up front, Brian Voles number 2, Hunter Firestone number 3, and Anthony Cuthbert has moved his way into the 4th spot. Looking forward to seeing what he can do as he works his way up into the top part of this track. And Jimmy Hayden had a heck of a start. Brian Voles just behind him. Both of them had a pretty good launch off the green.
Absolutely, and they're even too wide back behind them as Anthony Cuthbert and Hunter Firestone are trying to get into it. I think Anthony wants that podium spot right there in P3 as he gets up ahead of Hunter Firestone and tries to chase down the leaders.
Yeah, Hunter, watch him on the draft, though, as we're on front straightaway. If he's able to get a draft going into this turn, and it looks like actually some good defense played there by Cuthbert, trying not to let him get directly behind. We'll see if that works, but Hunter Firestone on this back straightaway, if he's able to get the launch, he may try to work to the outside against him.
Yeah, even Hunter Firestone trying to get down below the apron a little bit there. Not going to work entirely for him right now, but he is closing ever so slightly on Anthony, and Anthony has now caught Brian Voles and Jimmy Hayden. So look for that four line of cars to start pulling away, possibly, as we see some bumping and bumping and riding right now with the number 36 of Daniel Anderson right behind Hunter.
Yeah, Gavin Graham, if we look back at the back of Daniel Anderson's car, we'll get a nice view of his undercarriage again. Gavin Graham working the 6th spot pretty well as the top 6 starting to work together to get away from the rest of the pack. And there's probably, at this point, almost a 1.5 seconds difference between Gavin Graham in the 6th spot and Sean Ryan working in 7th.
Yeah, also a note, only 13 cars now on the lead lap, it seems. Cole Mykrit's even one of those that ends up a lap back. Not entirely sure how that might have happened. Maybe we'll try and get a message from race control to see what may have happened. But, as you see, lots of pack racing going still. Gavin Graham hugging the outside wall there to try and get some speed. But the top 6 currently far and away from everyone behind them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And looking at the Fred Daniels, he has lost his motor. He's got 15 minutes of repairs in front of him, and he was in the pits for damage, talking about Mykrit, and he needed some repairs. So that's why he was down in the no longer in the lead lap as we get into lap 55, almost 56 of 100 here. Jimmy Hayden, Brian Voles still top 2. Anthony Cuthbert, Hunter Firestone top 3 and 4. And Cuthbert has moved actually into the top 2 now as he overtakes Brian Voles into the 2 spot.
Yeah, that's a good move as we see as they go side by side. Brian Voles still hugging that inside, but Anthony Cuthbert wants a lap led, wants that extra point. Jimmy Hayden leads your lap right there, but we'll see what the number 28 of Hunter Firestone can do to help Anthony possibly as Brian gets a little bit squirrely right there into the turn. Hold it down there, Brian. We've got a little bit over 40 to go still.
Looks like Brian was actually giving Jimmy Hayden a little bit of a push forward. So that's a little bit of team racing. Nothing wrong with that if it works out for both of you. And as Jimmy Hayden keeps the front spot from Anthony Cuthbert, at least for the moment, and that was dangerous as Hunter Firestone keeps it together after Brian Voles nearly got into him up the wall.
Yeah, I think that was almost a turn for the worse, but I think Anthony Cuthbert might have led that lap just barely, so he will get that extra point for himself after the race. But some good side-by-side racing regardless from the P1 and P2 spots, as well as with Brian Voles and Hunter Firestone. I think Hunter may have dropped just a little bit as he was maybe had something something he was worried about there. I don't think he appreciated it, but he stays on the lead lap, doesn't crash. That's the most important thing.
There are 3 racers that have a 36.29, which is tied for your best lap of the cars on the lead lap. And Sean Ryan is one of those. Brian Voles, who's in the 3 spot, has one of the others. And just a really good all-around couple of laps there as you take a look at 4 cars there. trying to work in from the middle in towards the front, as this is a good way to go. Anthony Cuthbert trying to find his way back into it as he's got a he's still in that 2 spot following up Jimmy Hayden, but Anthony Cuthbert, talking about him, and Brian Voles as well, moving up quite a bit from their qualifying positions.
You can see how loose these cars get when they enter the turn, and we do have a caution now. Not quite sure where that may have happened, but I think it comes from James Grimm yet again in the number 76.
And be the third caution that involves him at some point in this race. We'll have to see what exactly happened. But yeah, definitely some yellow out on the course, and we'll see what kind of positioning and what kind of strategy these cars are going to employ. Not a lot of pits, I imagine, probably this time around, as the last caution was really dominated by it.
So I wouldn't have to imagine that they would. We'll have to see for sure, because some of these guys are on a very different pit strategy. But as you can see right here, the number 76, James Grimm, not having necessarily the best day here at Charlotte. He has been up and down that apron trying to get onto the blacktop as much as he can, and he's just not had the greatest of days trying to handle the street stock car.
The second group, well, it's not going to matter now. As I said, there was not going to be a lot of pits. It looks like everybody's going in the pits, so shows what I know. Not a problem, as this will be everything but 6 cars that are on the lead lap currently in pit row, and we'll see what kind of positions they end up in at the very end. But Patrick Howard moving his way up into the top 5, because one of the beneficiaries of the pit strategies, and Corey Abbott going to work his way up as well as he works to get back towards the top of this lap.
Yeah, Patrick Howard hasn't been one of those guys we've talked about a lot today, and he has now moved up into the 4th spot. He may be on a different pit strategy. He may be also just biding his time, trying to take all the time that he can to observe the field, to avoid the wrecks, to avoid anything that might hurt his chances at getting some decent points in this race. But he has now moved up 16 spots into the 4th place spot now on this lap, with Daniel Anderson, Jacob Newman, and Brandon Ward all leading in the top 3.
Lap 60 of 100 is under yellow caution, and the pit stops were pretty short, all told, but we'll have a new leader, Daniel Anderson, coming out into the top spot at the moment. If he keeps that, he may end up leading a lap here. So that'll be his first led lap of this race. And Anthony Cuthbert, gotta give some shout out to him, led a lap for the first time in Downshift Esports, and so that's a bit of a milestone, as it should be. Absolutely. As we get these guys back going again, probably another lap or 2 of caution as they get the track cleaned up, get everybody organized.
I do want to say as well, I think it's an interesting strategy from the number 62 that I'm seeing on my timing table here. He has decided to go 6 pit stops. So he has done 6 pit stops total, his last coming from just this caution. But he's still on the lead lap. He is holding that 10th place spot, and we've seen him even going into the top 5 spots. So whatever kind of strategy he is on, it's working very well for him, as some of these guys haven't even hit 4 pit counts yet.
Yeah, an interesting thought process. I mean, there's only so much fuel you've got. There's only so many wheels you've got, or so many tires you've got, I should say. So these guys are going to try their best to make it work. As we get into a little bit of organization on this back straightaway, is they're going to try, I think, to go green on this next way through as race control tries to get him in line.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll go green this time, Bias. It doesn't seem that everyone's getting organized there, and I think I saw some lights on the pace car, so we'll stay caution for the moment. But Arthur Clements back into the pits, has now exited the pits. He is back on track, only a few laps down, so maybe he gets some way of getting back into this race. We're only a little over 40, or a little under 40 laps to go as well, Chris. And there goes the number 20 of Andrew Hardcastle getting his laps back. Yeah, he's working on it as well. He was at 15 minutes of repair time earlier, and he's back out on the track, so that's good to see. James Grimm is the lead dog as far as the lap down brigade goes, so he may end up getting that lap back. We'll see if that's a thing, but Arthur Clements behind him.
And Daniel Anderson still your top spot. Jacob Newman, Brandon Ward your top 3 with Patrick Howard. And then you take a look at Jimmy Hayden, who's had a good car all day. Look to see if he can get himself into a lead spot one more time as this race comes down to the last 38.
Absolutely. I do want to go over just really quickly for the crowd at home watching us on all 3 of the major platforms, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, about the point structure for the Street Stock League this season. This season it's changed just a little bit. 50 points to the winner instead of 40 from last season. And all the points behind them as well, 45 down to 11 points for places 2 through 36 and beyond. So lots of chances for everyone to get points throughout this entire season, and you can really maximize it every spot you go, Chris.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, then of course leading laps and getting you somewhere. You even finishing laps getting you somewhere.
Absolutely.
On this race. So this first race definitely a good spot to get momentum. As this pace car is about to get off of the track, we are ready to go. Green flag again. Everybody gridded up. We'll see what kind of separation we have and see what kind of start Daniel Anderson gets off of the green flag. He's got a good one, it looks like, as it'll be Jacob Newman just behind him by about a car and a half, and a very dangerous spot in the 4 spot, as that was Jimmy Hayden who nearly got run into in the back. But he's able to keep it straight.
Yeah, look at this. 3 wide off the start with Patrick Howard, Brian Vols, and Hunter Firestone all side by side going into that first turn. Be careful, boys. It is the restart. Don't want consecutive cautions going out because that can just ruin your race possibly. But the number 34, Patrick Howard, like we said, we haven't talked much about him. Hugging the wall currently, but he stays out of any sort of trouble right there, and it stays green.
Yeah, he does jump in front of Andrew Hardcastle, though, who had to put it on the brakes a little bit. So we'll see if Hardcastle can get by him and keep this going green flag. But you have a tight pack at the front of this racetrack as Daniel Anderson still working on the lead. Jimmy Hayden, and Jimmy, not sure how he made it out of there, but he's able to do just that, as this will be into turn 3. With Jimmy Hayden still holding on to the 2 spot.
Yeah, we said it before as well earlier in this race. He is looking to be as aggressive as possible. He has made every spot that he that he can.
Look at this run.
Yeah, he's gotten a great run. Side bumping door to door with the 00, but the number 36 gets down onto the apron. I'm not sure what may have happened there as he drops a few places.
Yeah, drops a lot, drops all the way back to 12th. That was our leader, Daniel Anderson. He's moved back 11 spots. Not exactly sure where that came from, but either way, Jimmy Hayden, your new race leader, Sean Ryan behind him, and then Jacob Newman, the 00, now moved in to the number 2 spot. Watch Sean Ryan. He's been known to work that outside, at least so far in this race. He may do it here to keep that 2 spot away from Jacob Newman.
Yeah, he's going to try and squeeze him as well, trying to get as much track as he can for mobility as it goes 3 wide now.
Yep.
The 00 of Jacob Newman down on the inside. What a move from Jacob Newman in the 00. He takes the lead for just a tad as the number 24 and number 9 get back around for some momentum.
Yeah, good work from Newman, and he may still have the advantage going into turn 3 here as he's going to take the lead again. He may end up with a lead lap on this. Jimmy Hayden may fight him for it, but you see Sean Ryan moving back a little bit into the 4 or 5 spot. So watch for Jacob Newman and Jimmy Hayden. Hayden is the one who got that lead on, or get that lap lead, and he'll get the extra point.
Absolutely, and he's got a lot of laps led currently, so he is now trying to go for the most laps led points, as you get 5 points if you lead the most laps during the race. So he's probably going to shoot for that. And the 00 right now, Jacob Newman just probably happy to be where he is, holding that bottom line. Impressive stuff from the newcomer.
Yeah, very, very good work. I'm going to keep an eye on Hunter Firestone, who's working his way up the inside as well. Watch for him, as if he wants to get aggressive, he can turn this into a 3 wide situation between him and Cuthbert and one other. Brian Vols also there. He's tightened things up. Good adjustments from him as he was really loose earlier on in this race, but has since been able to put it together. But he's in the middle of a pack of cars at the moment. There's a disconnect, it looks like. Not sure exactly who that was, but we're missing one up front.
Yeah, I think we might have gotten a disconnect from Hunter Firestone there, and he has now dropped a little bit out of the pack. We didn't get a good camera angle on him when that happened, but he has now dropped down to 11th place, and he'll work to try and get back up. Another note, though, Anthony Cuthbert fighting for that top pack as well, with Brian Voles and Jesse English, all three in Downshift cars, currently fighting for the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot right there, trying to maybe go for the lead as well.
Interesting to see if Sean Ryan can get a distance to maybe move down into the inside, but it doesn't look like Jimmy Hayden's going to let him at all. Jimmy Hayden comes up and absolutely surges through that corner. Very good work. And you have Jacob Newman working the inside as well. They're going to keep in that 4-pack as Brian Voles has worked back to 5th. He's got a draft in front of him, though, that he may be able to work his way into this pack once more. And if he tries to end up in the middle, then we could end up 3 wide again going back into the front straightaway.
Yeah, we might end up doing so. Hopefully it turns into some good racing. Take care, boys. You don't want to go get into something you're not quite sure of. But Patrick Howard as well into the pits. He might drop just a couple laps, as we see just a line of cars going around turns 3 and 4 down into the start-finish line.
Sean Ryan back in front, taking a look at some others at the back of the lead lap brigade. It is Brandon Ward working in 13th. Daniel Anderson, who got loose a little bit in the front, and that's why he's down near the bottom of the lead lap at the moment. He just didn't want to try to re-enter from the apron. Good on him. Gavin Graham working in top 8. We talked about him. Jesse English has been, we have a Jesse English sighting as well. He's up in 6th at the moment, as we get as he works his way back towards the front as he tries to catch the draft.
And you just saw it, the number 2 of Coy McGrath getting into Corey Abbott, the number 21. Corey just went a little wide into that corner, but saved it. Coy will take that spot. He says, "Thank you very much," as a bump and run has occurred.
Cole Micret takes 6th away from Jesse English. If we can go at my request, give me some dash cams from some of these racers up front, if at all possible. Sir Drew, as we get into the 72nd lap, almost 73rd lap of this 100. We're getting to the last quarter of this race, as very close as a little bit of corner panel action looking at the car of Brian Voles, I believe we're in right now, and that was Cole Micret in front of him.
This is Jesse Voles currently. Brian Voles on the outside of him. That's exactly what we didn't see, is that third car on the outside right there with Cole Micret down on the inside. That was 3 wide, and Jesse English was staying in the middle. He gets a little sideways, but manages to save it coming out of turn 2 right there. He will stay with the pack for the time being. But Cole Micret as well, that's an impressive name to be up in the top 5 right there, as he did have that crash earlier. That's impressive stuff from our previous champion.
Yeah, he was working on repairs and was able to get it, but huge good thoughts to Jesse English, who was able to stay with the draft. But there's a lot up front right now, a whole lot of traffic. As you take a look at the very back, I believe that is Jacob Newman in the 3 spot, as Anthony Cuthbert just behind him, and Newman gets towards the apron. Dangerous spot, possibly 3 wide if Cuthbert gets a little bit antsy. And it looks like Cuthbert takes the 3 spot.
And he will do that. But Jacob Newman now falling a little backwards. I'm not quite sure where he may have ended up. But, he has gone into the pits. So he is on a green flag pit stop, as we have gone quite a few laps under green, Chris. And so we'll probably need to start looking out for those green flag pit stops.
Yeah, it looks like the 47th lap of the race was when Anderson and Ward last went into the pits, so they got to be looking to probably go in, and that is Daniel Anderson now going into the pits. So he is, as we say that, he sees Jacob Newman in there, and I think Brandon Ward's probably going to follow him if strategy speaks to itself. So good stuff from those 3 as they're going to think about this last 25 laps, and you got to wonder where Jimmy Hayden falls on that list as far as his tire quality, as he took one on the 60th lap of this race, which was now 15 laps ago.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these pit stops might emerge in this last quarter of this race. When we ran the practice yesterday, some of these guys, with the fuel limits that we have on the cars for this season, on Charlotte, they were not able to run anything more than maybe 20 to 22 laps with a 30% fuel tank. So that's where we're at currently. We're seeing all these guys trying to schedule their pit stops as much as they can. If they can schedule it within that 22 to 20 lap range, they might be great in terms of their pit stop strategy. A couple notes as well. Daniel Anderson and Brandon Ward have now fallen into the pits as they are going for some gas as well. And Fred Daniels is also back on track. Good for him for staying out there, getting the most points that he's able to get in that number 56 car.
Yeah, good stuff indeed. Green flag pit stops a key at the moment. As you take a look there at Daniel Anderson, he's back out on track, so we'll see how fast he can get back up into the rest of the field. Jimmy Hayden still leading this race. Sean Ryan behind him. They're trading back and forth 1 and 2. Seemingly through radio chatter, lap 80 is going to be the plan for a lot of these guys to take their green flag pit stops if we're still green. That's something to watch out for, as that was Jimmy Hayden and Sean Ryan talking up front, I believe, along with Brian Voles. And we are still green as we continue to race through Charlotte Motor Speedway, the first race of the regular season for Downshift Esports. Chris Curtis, Drew Akers, Ben Ruprock on race control and giving us radio chatter from Race Central. We are still at about a 9-car deep pack that are working the draft and working against each other and for each other to keep each other away from the pack and behind them.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what happens. But as you see, Cole Mykrit now dropping into the pits on lap 22 to go. We'll see how that works out for his strategy. That might be pushing it just a little bit. We'll have to see. But a lot of drivers calling out their pits this next lap around. We'll have to see exactly who hits their markers, hits their pit boxes, and doesn't spin those tires as they come out of the pits to gain that slight advantage coming out.
Don't speed through pit row either. This could be interesting as things get real tight along the way. That is the 21 car of Corey Abbott hitting pit row as well. As you see Jimmy Hayden and Sean Ryan getting down there, and everybody. Sean Ryan's still out there, but a majority are in pit row.
Yeah, 3 guys still stay out there. Sean Ryan, Anthony Cuthbert, and I think Hunter Firestone is also out there as well. I think he's having a little bit of connection issues, but trying to get as much of a lap back as he can. Sean Ryan and Anthony Cuthbert are both on a different strategy right there. So we'll see how that pans out for them as we see down pit lane who might come out first out of these pit stalls.
Now, as of right now, Gavin Graham looking at a 19-second pit stop at the moment. Along with Coy McGrath as well. And we'll see. Talk about somebody speeding through pit row. And I think,
no!
Yes, that would be a speed through pit row. That's a problem. And I didn't see who that was, but that's a penalty.
I think that would be Hunter Firestone back there, as we saw just barely speeding right there. And it looks like Jesse English will get ahead of Jimmy Hayden there in the pit stall. So great move for him. But Hunter might have to serve a penalty, as we saw just barely in the background, him getting sideways into the pits.
Looks like gas and fuel would be the reason why a lot of the pit stops were happening right there, as these guys are really starting to heat up. Huge pit.
And you can see him getting sideways right there, just barely. Not what you want to do, Hunter. I know it's been a little bit since you came back, but not what we want to see out of one of our veteran drivers. Hopefully, he can get back out there as quickly as possible.
And Sean Ryan and Anthony Cuthbert working on helping each other out, and looks like the plan for them is to go in at 84, which is going to be pretty quick here per race control on radio chatter. So we'll see if that's a thing. But we keep going on. You take a look there. It is going to be Cole Mykert working his way back up towards the front as we are into a spot where the leaders up front trying to get as much distance as they can, maybe living through this green flag pit stop.
Absolutely, and it's great to see Anthony Cuthbert, one of the newer drivers, trying to help out, and it looks like they are now on the apron. Going into pit lane, we'll have to see what happens. Don't speed through the pits, boys. Try and get that try and get that speed lowered as fast as you can, but don't spin. I think they've hit it just perfectly. We'll see where they come out in relative to Jimmy Hayden and the others.
Yeah, Jimmy Hayden working his way up front as they make up the distance on this pit stop that Sean Ryan and Anthony Cuthbert are taking, but Jesse English just behind him. English working the draft real well against Hayden. Watch for the slingshot forward. These guys working real. This green flag racing is absolutely awesome.
Absolutely.
The way these guys are taking this track, very smart, but also some very aggressive plays. You take a look at Brian Voles in 6th.
Yeah, Brian Voles, the front of this 4-car pack right behind him, as you're seeing in the cockpit view. Just a little bit of what he's seeing ahead of him. Cole Micro, Jesse English, and Jimmy Hayden just a tad bit far from him, but back behind him is 3 cars. Corey Abbott, Gavin Graham, and Jacob Newman. Actually, the number 56 is also somewhere in there, that of Fred Daniels, so he is somewhere in that mix. And I think we've got leaders coming out of the pits currently. We'll see if they keep their lead.
Looks like Sean Ryan and Jimmy Hayden did manage to keep it, at least for the moment. Or Sean Ryan did, and it looks like Anthony Cuthbert's back in 8th. But Sean, very good pit stop, and we'll see how much he actually took as far as fuel. But if it's enough, he's in really good shape as he's out back full speed again with Jimmy Hayden and Jesse English trying to chase him down.
Yeah, one of the things that I was talking with the drivers in yesterday's practice, as well as possibly some of the worry of a light fuel tank and how loose this car can get, even with with as full of a tank as it is with these cars as we've limited to. So hopefully these guys aren't getting too low on gas. We'll see how they handle it when it does get a little bit lower. But Jimmy Hayden and Jesse English both hounding the back of Sean Ryan right now as they get ever so closer with 15 laps to go.
One of the funniest things I've heard all day, Jimmy Hayden giving the Jaws theme to Sean Ryan in the radio chatter. So as they're definitely hunting him down, looks like Jesse English is trying to help out Jimmy, and likewise Jimmy to Jesse as they try to catch up to the leader. But Sean Ryan not working with any sort of draft at his back or his front. That's going to be a problem for him if he wants to try to keep this lead. He'll just try to keep it going as long as possible and then maybe work defensively with Jimmy and Jesse to try to keep it going at top speed.
Yeah, and another thing, Brian Voles and Cole Micret trying to get some kind of a draft partner going, as maybe not as they're too wide, with the number 56 of Fred Daniels in the mix right there. But I think they're going to try and get as much of a push as they can going in terms of trying to catch the leaders.
Didn't hear who exactly it was, but I think we're overdue for a caution here, fellas. That's pretty good. Jimmy Hayden on the outside is going to lose it, and that is Sean Ryan working his way forward. No, that's not Jimmy Hayden. That would be the 4-spot. No, that was one of the lap cars. Apologies.
That's the number 5 of Arthur Clements right there. Yeah, he's a few laps down, 4 to be exact. So Jimmy Hayden, though, getting that inside line and is now leading this race.
Jesse.
With 13 laps to go, and Jesse English on the inside, I think, is going to take a little bit of a bow real quick before he gets caught up in anything he doesn't want to be.
Right, yeah, especially with 12 laps to go. You don't want to be caught in that spot. A top 3 is better than a top 15 if things were to go awry. So Sean Ryan, Jimmy Hayden trading back and forth a little bit. Jesse English, Brian Voles 3-4, although Brian Voles pretty good separation between him and Jesse English. There's about 2 full seconds between English and Voles at this point, the 8 car and the 44. Cole Micret, number 5, Corey Abbott, number 6, they're right with each other. And then 7, 8, Gavin Graham and Anthony Cuthbert in a dangerous spot. But it looks like everyone survived. We remain green for the moment in the middle of the pack.
The number 3 of Cole Micro getting sideways there. That is not what we wanted to see coming out of our previous champion. He's getting us still loose as the number 62 goes down onto the apron. Now tries to get back on track, but I think he keeps it down there for the moment as he gets some clean air. That was a scary moment for us, boys. Let's try not to finish it on a bad note.
Yeah, that was Andrew Hardcastle down on the apron, letting the lead lap cars get in front of him a little bit, and Jimmy Hayden taking back the lead. Sean Ryan up towards the wall. It looks like he saved it and is actually able to take the outside run and take the lead for the moment from Jimmy Hayden.
He got that outside run because the number 24 down there on the apron got sideways almost and just was able to save it, thankfully. as they are now 10 to go and a 10-lap shootout expected here, Chris. I'm excited to see what happens.
And laps left. We're 90% of the way through. The last pit stops were already done a little while ago, so hopefully we remain green for the rest of this. But very good racing so far, as Jimmy Hayden, who's led the most laps and will likely get those 5 points, gives it up to Sean Ryan on the outside front straightaway for the moment, but then takes it back in turn 2.
This is an exciting shootout here with Jesse English also now on the apron, just getting a little tight there, but Jesse English now fighting for that top spot as well. He's going to try and look down the inside. Doesn't have the speed necessarily, but almost down onto the apron as Jimmy throws a block. But Sean Ryan will keep that lead going, and Jimmy Hayden just slightly stays down below. And a turn from Jesse English on the number 9 of Sean Ryan. That is not going to be a caution there. Not sure why I'm seeing a checkered flag. I don't think that's a checkered flag, and if I'm mistaken, that's a very bad mistake there.
Yeah, no, we still had plenty of laps to go. Not sure. We'll get race control's answer on this in just a moment, but that should have been, originally was a caution, I thought.
I think we're still racing. We've got 8 laps to go, I think.
Okay.
Oh, the session.
See.
Oh, maybe it is a checkered flag.
Interesting.
I think we ran out of time. I think we might have ran out of time for this race. That is the white flag. That is the checkered flag as well of Jimmy Hayden now coming across the line and winning the Charlotte Motor Speedway race for week 1 of this season.
All right. Well,
that is not what we expected.
No, that is not. I mean, I thought we were going pretty good time-wise, but I thought
we were too.
That's really, really interesting. Okay. No warning or anything. So, all right. Well, there's that. Jimmy Hayden does come out with the win, though. 50 points to him and 5 extra for leading the most laps, and then plenty of points for the laps he did lead each lap. So that's but really good places, really, from a lot of different racers. Jesse English 2, Sean Ryan 3, Brian Voles in the 4 spot, and top 10 for Anthony Cuthbert in his first race as well. And you gotta give him a little bit of love. So a lot of really good positions, and you got some that are going to be looking to recover in week 2. For example, Andrew Hardcastle is 1, Arthur Clements is number 2, and then I got to talk about Brett Wolf, who lost a motor and his day was done.
Yeah, and even with how this finished, I think it was still a great finish to this race. I think it was a great race overall, and now we get to see take a look at what happened over the course of this race and where everybody finished. But overall, it's still exciting to see everyone on track and how this ended up turning out, Chris.
Yeah, no, a lot of fun really everywhere. Some aggressive moves, and while we didn't expect the finish we got, it was still pretty close throughout. We got what we expected as far as the draft. It played a huge role in this race, really everywhere, as there were packs of cars feeding off each other to catch up to the rest of the pack. That was a fun one to watch.
Absolutely. As we take a look, Jimmy Hayden at first spot, he will win this week. It's been a thing with him recurring ever since last season. He keeps his consistency strong as he wins yet another one. Jesse English in second place. That's a great finish from the new guy in Downshift Esports. Sean Ryan in that 3rd spot. Probably not what he wanted considering the circumstances near the end of that race, but still a good finish nonetheless. Brian Voles, Corey Abbott, Cole Mykrit, Gavin Graham, Anthony Cuthbert, Brandon Ward, and Hunter Firestone round up your top 10. We'll go ahead and take a look at what the championship points, the unofficial championship points, might look after this race.
The race being done, that's the championship points. The points will be added in for points post-race bonuses to give us the official ones. So we'll be in the Discord server at the link at the bottom of your screen there. But we've got more to come. Some post-race coverage on the way as Charlotte is officially in the books. Week 1 of Downshift Esports Street Stock League is kaput. It's finished, and we will have more for you after this quick break. This is Downshift Esports. Stay right there. welcome back into Charlotte Motor Speedway. Week 1 of the Downshift Esports Street Stock League is officially in the books with your winner, Jimmy Hayden. We got a few enthused racers with pretty good top finishes on the docket with us in the post-race chat room. And one, Sean Ryan is first up. Sean, first of all, congrats on the top 3.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race from all of you guys out on the track, especially the guys that were running up front. It was respectful. It was intense. It's all the adjectives you could probably add to it to make it as exciting as it should sound. And you know what? Watching it was as exciting as it probably felt. Just tell us how the race was for you.
It was a fun one. I had my chair running up at the front. Was trying to keep my nose in front of everyone as much as possible, trying to get the most lead laps for that point bonus. So I was probably hanging out a fuel tank a little bit longer than I needed to. But in the end there, it just came down to really 3 cars in a pack, and was trying to hold Jimmy as low as I can, and I was getting the run off of him each time coming to the line first, but had that little hiccup at the end there, but what are you gonna do when you have cars that close on track? It's almost inevitable at sometimes.
Real quick, Sean, run us through that last bulk pit stop before, like 25 laps to go or whatever it was, or 20 laps to go. Did you and Anthony kind of have some communication going back and forth about working together and trying to keep each other going forward to try to survive a pit stop?
Well, I was thinking to myself, I'm on the top of the racetrack. I can't make it to the pits safely when these guys want to go. So Jimmy was calling out with the rest of the pack that he was going on 80 to make sure that it was safe for him. Mm-hmm. And everyone else kind of decided that if Jimmy's going 80, then I should probably do 82. And I was just like, I'm up at the top here. I don't want to risk having to cut down on any of these guys. So I was just thinking to myself, looking at the fuel, how much I had left. I was like, I'm going to run it till it's just about dry. I'm going to come in, and luckily Ant came with me and stayed out. So I told him, I was like, I'm staying out to 84. We went in, and I did my my RadCon math. I figured out how much fuel I needed, and we got out, and I had a good buffer so that by the time that they ran up on me, the speed gap wasn't too good, and we had a nice little pack at the end there.
It was quite exciting to watch, especially considering the last few laps, and sad to say that the session did have to cut short. I feel like you would have made some kind of a comeback for sure, all things considered, with the little tap that happened on the end there. But relatively clean race from you going into next week. Next week's going to be Langley, a short track of all things, and you've been pretty strong in general. Are you strong? Are you confident in Langley? Are you going to be confident in the race itself, especially with how many drivers might even turn up next week?
I mean, I love Langley. It's a controversial opinion, but I really do like it. I'm fast there. The only thing is passing is almost impossible. You got to be on the bottom. There's really no second groove, and it's going to take a lot of patience for these guys to really run it around, because otherwise we're going to be seeing a lot of yellows. So it's going to take a lot of patience, but I'm looking forward to it. I think I can have a strong race. I got pace, so yeah, should be good.
Look forward to seeing you next week, but, great job on finishing 3rd place regardless.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, and then moving on to, I believe we agreed that the next one was going to be
Jesse. Yeah, I think we got Jesse English next.
Yes, top 2, and you're and I mean, looking forward. That's a pretty good start to your season, to your time in Downshift, I'd say. I mean, walk us through your race, like, for maybe not in 20 words, 25 words or less. Walk us through your race, and give us your thought processes.
I mean, with my experience in our racing, my goal was just at least just to finish. Like, I did not expect to even get myself in the top 10. And I was pretty much just listening to everybody else's comments and see what everybody else was doing, especially towards the end with the final pit stop, I was just listening to everybody else and just kind of learning along the way and just trying to gain myself more experience.
I mean, it worked out for you, all things considered. You got second place, a little bit of a tight pack race near the end as well. You know, even impressive pole position that gains you an extra point as well. I mean, pole position. What was the key there? What kind of draft did you get? Because it had to be massive from the times that we were looking at.
Yeah, the draft, that was insane. I went out pit road first, and I was just followed behind someone, followed 2-car pack, and I was just staying behind them. And I guess the cars just played in my favor, and I just was able to pull it off. Just got in a draft, stayed in it, and just followed the line, and surprisingly got pole.
Well, maybe it won't be as surprising come these next few weeks, but hopefully we can see more out of you in terms of the top spot going into qualifying. But congratulations on your second place, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on, talking to the winner at Charlotte tonight. It is Jimmy Hayden coming through. Most laps led. Get points for each of the laps you did lead. And you had quite a bit of really good runs against really everybody on the field. There was really not a moment where this was really in doubt for at least a really good finish for you. Or did you think differently throughout this race at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty... I have to say, like, the super speedways, like, I guess Charlotte counts for these cars, are one of my strong suits. I love just playing around with the draft, finding runs, seeing where I can make a pass. I was taking some risks, I guess, but I guess it paid off. Yeah, I don't know. I had a blast racing with Sean, Brian, Jesse, Cole for a little bit. There's a lot of guys out there racing really hard and really clean. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I probably can't count on the times that you called out on my hand, or hands even, the number of times you called out exactly what you were going to do in terms of aggressive driving and making your way up the field. You know, with those aggressive calls, it turned out well for you. But I mean, even you can only get so aggressive sometimes, but you made it work fantastically for your part. You know, is there a special way that you usually go about trying to take advantage of being a little bit farther back and taking that draft as much as you can?
I don't know. I just think, like, I know what I can and can't get away with these cars, especially this track. I've done a lot of laps here, so I know what I can do to kind of make it look like I'm doing something sketchy that might make someone else check up. So not gonna give away too many secrets, but
Too
yeah,
easy.
no, I just like to I think being aggressive and knowing what you can get away with is definitely the key to at least moving up the field. Once you're up in the top 3 or so, and you got to play with the draft and runs between the inside and outside, there's not much you can do. But as far as just kind of moving up through the field when you need to, there's a couple things you can get away with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, is it usually a different strategy for you in terms of the Formula Vs as well? I know those kind of have some kind of a draft as well, but when it comes to the Formula Vs, you seem to be pretty strong there as well. Does it just kind of transfer over to a different car seamlessly?
Not really. Like in those cars, you have to be a lot more careful. You can't bump draft. You can't really make too aggressive moves because you touch tires, whatever, your day is pretty much over. So, I haven't really done many races in that car. I've done a lot of laps like by myself, just to try to figure it out. But we'll see how it goes when it comes to race time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think a whole lot's going to transfer over between the two. But we'll see.
Well, we'll definitely have to see.
Which, I'm not sure if this is you, Jimmy, but you and Jesse were chasing down Sean Ryan towards I think it was probably the 80th lap, maybe 82nd lap. And somebody started doing the Jaws theme on the radio. Who was that? Somebody did it. So I think it was probably one of you guys. I just don't know exactly know who.
There's no. I was so focused, I didn't even think of that.
I thought it was one of you guys because I think it was you and Jesse that were chasing down Sean. I could
No,
have
I
sworn
was
it was
just
one of you
yelling
guys.
at Jesse, push me, push me, push me, push me. We got him, we got him, we got him. I was like, if you want this to be a 2-car race, get up my butt right now. We'll
Let's go. Let's go. Awesome.
Oh
All right.
man. Well, yeah.
Good work.
Congrats on the win. First win of the season for you. So, congratulations on that.
He's batting 1,000.
Yeah,
Thanks,
exactly.
And then let's bring in Anthony Cuthbert. Anthony, first of all, welcome to Downshift. You jump in the just before I believe the first race started. You were, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were a today sign up, right?
Yeah. So I heard about Downshift, I think a week and a half before the event started.
Okay.
I've been talking to Drew back and forth, trying to make sure I got everything set up. So I signed up for the Street Stock and the Formula League, and I'm like, okay, let me get ready. I'm excited. And honestly, I almost missed the race today because I felt like today was Monday instead of Tuesday because I didn't go to work yesterday.
Well, I mean,
That's pretty funny.
yeah.
It's 7:45, and then the missus said, "Babe, isn't your race in like 15 minutes?"
Yeah, it's a good thing we've got a great league manager to give you guys some pings as to what's going on. But it's been great talking back and forth with you overall, just in preparation for the season. And a great race from you overall. You were fighting for the top spot multiple times. Finished 8th place as well. That's going to net you a decent amount of points to keep up with the top runners. Overall, just how did the race feel for you? Your first race here at Downshift.
I'm gonna be honest, a part of me was scared because the first 2 laps in the Street Stock Fixed Series usually ends in a slide because I guess it's just how they set up the car, but it felt really good. I knew draft was going to be key, and I just had to be patient, be consistent, don't make any hash or irrational moves, but I knew there were a couple times where I was 3 wide at the start just because I got to jump off the line. All right. But as long as I kept it smooth, everything was great. I got up with Sean. We were running 1-2 for a bit, and then about, I think it was lap 84, we went in. I took too much fuel, and that's what threw me all the way to 8th.
Yeah, well, yeah, we were having a chat with you just beforehand, and taking too much fuel might have been your downfall there. But I mean, regardless of that, it was a great finish for you overall. First in Downshift, we're looking forward to seeing you even further during this season. When you look at the calendar, you're looking at tracks like Langley, USA International, South Boston, even Charlotte again, as well as maybe Thompson and Southern National. These short tracks, heavy on the schedule. Are you feeling confident with those short tracks, or is there something in the background you're going to be working on as the weeks progress?
I'm definitely going to get my practice in for sure. I did spend a lot of time during the 13th week racing at the US Speedway, and out of like 6 races, I've won 4 of them and finished 3rd in one other race. So I've been putting in my practice, getting a little work in. Now I got to get ready for the V race on Thursday, so I'll be putting in my practice for that. But outside of that, I'm really looking forward to the season. There was a lot of great racing out there tonight, and I look forward to what's to come.
Well, I mean, you are also part of that great racing out there, Anthony, and we look forward to seeing you the rest of the season. Maybe even getting into that top 3, as we hadn't mentioned before, but top 3 out of the championship do get some free livery from Needham, so look out for those prizes. But congratulations on your first race at Downshift, and a great finish as well, Anthony.
Appreciate it. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of really good racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we round out week 1. Jimmy Hayden, your winner, week 1 of the Downshift regular season, as we close things up for now. We are back in 1 week's time, Tuesday. That is September 21st at Langley. That is the start time for the broadcast, 8 p.m., qualifying at 8:05, and we have racing at 8:20 as we get things going again for week 2 of Street Stock League. For Drew Akers, for Ben Drew Proctor at Race Control, and for the rest of us here at Downshift Esports, I am Chris Curtis saying goodbye and good night from Charlotte. We will see you in 7 days' time for Langley. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks for watching.
Right, let me tell you.